There is, in the process of doing documentaries, I find when I try to explain, when I try to ask, why we're not investing enough for the environment, why we're not investing enough for education, because everybody agrees that this is not consumed, it's not money being spent, our investment. But then it seems that everybody finds the culprit somewhere else. Politicians would say, well, but the media do not understand. I mean, if we spend for something that the profit will come to the next generation, then we'll have the media against us because they say we are not tackling the fundamental economic indicators. The media people will say no, because the politicians, they just see for their next interest on the next step, so they give fault to each other. Surely there is this gap between I think that somehow the top politicians, the top leaders, not everybody, of course, but they are realizing that the pattern is not sustainable. There should be longer time of investment. But they seem unable to do a change because their survival is based on short terms. And on the other side, there is the public, which is used to think that politicians will not think about them and anyhow will not sponsor any kind of movement. How, I mean, we are now in the media section, we are working, so we are working on trying to bridge this distance. What a suggestion for us?
Well, I think the media has an extremely important role because I think the media has to spread knowledge on what would happen if we pursue the current path. The current path is not sustainable. The current path is leading to serious problems like climate change. And this is going to affect not just the next generation, it's going to affect this generation. It's going to affect your life and my life. And I think the media has to explain this to people. You know, we have said in the IPCC fourth assessment report that there is an increase in floods, droughts, heat waves, extreme precipitation events. The impacts of climate change on human health are harmful. The impacts of climate change on agriculture will in general be harmful and negative. So I think if all this is happening, then clearly we have to change the path on which we are developing currently or what we call development. So I think this is where the media has an extremely important role to play. I think when people realize that it's not just the next generation, and of course we have to be concerned about the next generation. There are very few societies on earth who don't care about their children. If we are concerned about our children, then we necessarily have to be concerned about bringing about change. And may I also say that there is a role for educational systems whereby children are taught about these things right from their childhood. If a child who is 10 years old understands that burning of fossil fuels, emitting greenhouse gas emissions is going to affect the climate of the earth, then that child will be brought up with values that he can practice in his own life, and he'll also tell his parents that, you know, what you're doing is not right. So I believe we have to use the media, we have to use our educational systems, because particularly in democratic societies, the only way you can bring about change is if people want change. Now you take the case of Egypt. We've had a change in government over there because the people rose. They realized that they are not going to continue with the current system. Why can't we do the same when it comes to development and growth? If we realize that growth and development are going to be harmful for us, then we have to change things. We have to reduce our emissions of greenhouse gases. We have to bring about some lifestyle changes. And why don't we do that? I think the only reason is that because people are not informed. People don't have the education to understand what we are doing.
We can speak of the environment in the sense of nature, but we can speak also environment in the sense of the human relationship climate. The human relationship, the climate of human relationship, how much they cooperate, how much they tackle the common problems, is fundamental also to deal with the environment as nature. So we need to look to a different kind of knowledge,
Right.
which is not just technical, scientific, like the kind of things that we
Sure.
learn to school, but something that involves the human element.
Yeah, we have to understand the impacts on society. I mean, if you take, for instance, the Mediterranean region, we have projected that water problems in the Mediterranean region are going to become much more serious. That has major social implications. And I think society has to understand that anything that is going to affect water availability in that region, or for that matter even in North Africa, has very serious implications for society. So it's a social challenge. And I think somehow we have to communicate these scientific and technical problems in terms of their social challenge. And that, I think, is the role of the media.
A good story, so how you perceive that somehow this kind of knowledge is being developed through your life, through your experience, that you see also a process of awareness growing, so that there is a good news to give to the public that it's something is possible, change is possible.
You know, there are fortunately a number of good examples everywhere in the world. Just to give you one example, my institute has launched a program called Lighting a Billion Lives. And the reason why we're doing this is because there are about 1.5 billion people, 1.5 billion people in this world who have no access to electricity. Now, if they were to wait till electricity comes to them, 3 generations will go by. So what we have done is we have designed solar lanterns. We train a woman in a village to charge these solar lanterns using a solar panel on the roof, and she rents them out at night. Now, we have covered almost 700 villages in India, and it makes such a difference to people's lives because they get clean lighting in their homes, children can do their homework, a woman can cook with proper light, and she doesn't have to inhale all the emissions from a kerosene lamp. A carpenter can continue working much longer. A shopkeeper can keep his shop open much longer. And a lot of people were otherwise living in darkness. So, you know, this is something which is catching on. We have good examples of management of forests, where, you know, the community has decided that they are going to protect their forests. They will not allow anybody to cut those forests, and they are managing them on a sustainable basis. I know I also have an appointment at Yale University, and the students over there are trying to do everything possible to reduce greenhouse gas emissions on campus. This is a university-wide program. So, frankly, I have a lot of faith in young people. I think if the youth are educated, if the youth are informed, then I think society will change. And I think that's what the real challenge is.